Orange team.
Hey guys, I'm Tim.
I'm Mike.
And this is the Board Game Rundown. Today we're going to do a Kickstarter preview of Nano Battle. This is the epic minifigure combat. So if you're a fan of the old muscle characters, these guys are that size. They're not as random as those little guys used to be. And but they're about that size. The prototype ones are nice and rubbery like those, but I believe that the final edition is going to be a little stiffer, so they're not going to be as soft. But anyways, this game is by Tony Robles, and it plays 1 to 6 players.
Mm-hmm.
In the Kickstarter campaign, there is a story mode. So when you play solo, you can go through the story mode. Obviously, the main pack supports 2 players, and then with additional packs, you can go up to 6. And this game is relatively straightforward. There are some things you need to know, but once you understand it, I believe that it plays very quickly. What does it say, 15 to 30 minutes?
It does.
And essentially what is going to happen is you are going to pick up your hand of cards. Everybody's got the same cards. They have different actions, though. Like this one is an attack, and on the other side is a guard. And so I'm going to pick one of these cards from my hand to play, and the side that is closest to the arena, our little battle area here, is the side that I am activating. And what's important is, though, right, like attack and guard are on the same card. So when I play this card, this is where that card's going to be for the rest of the round. So that's the time I'm taking that action, and I don't get that action back until we have gone through all the cards. So there's a little bit of, I mean, what would you call it? Rock, paper, scissors, maybe? You know?
Yeah, kind of some double think of trying to figure out what card the other player is going to use.
Right.
Because, you know, maybe one player uses an attack. The other guy might use a guard card to actually block the attack.
To boost their defense. And
there's other cards like the Endure that can negate special effects.
Yes, and there's cards that you will play like Boost, which will boost your next attack, right? So if I see Mike, if this card is a boost, I know the next card is most likely going to be an attack.
I'm setting up.
Correct. And but what he may do is try to get me to use my dodge. So for example, let's just say you had a boost, and I'm like, well, he played a boost the previous turn. I'm going to play my dodge to try to dodge. Well, then if he doesn't attack, I have now spent my dodge.
Right.
I would never do anything
so
like
we
that.
each select at the same time.
Correct.
Put them face down.
Yes.
We both flip them over, and then we resolve in lowest initiative order.
Correct. So Mike played dash. That is an initiative of 2. And I played attack. So that's an initiative of 3. So Mike would take his movement. He would move the range or whatever it says on the card. And when you move, you're going to expose or flip up the new tiles that you move over. And as you can see on these tiles, there's all kinds of icons. There's spark nodes and power nodes. So the spark node is the one in the center. If it might be an alliance or a faction symbol. So if it's of your faction, well, then you get the bonus from that node. If you're on a node that is adjacent to your faction, you also then get the bonus. You can attempt to create an alliance with a die roll. You can try once a turn. And it's a 50-50 pass or fail. 1, 2, or 3, I believe you pass. And if 4, 5, 6, you fail. And if you fail, you take a damage. Where is it? Right there? Where is it? Yeah, 4 and up, rejected. Take a damage. -1 spark. You have 10 health or 10 spark. And you're going to go through all these cards. The last card you played, once you're all done, gets discarded. You get the rest of your hand back. You play through again. If you have not destroyed your opponent at that point in time, you then now go to a wild nanoid, and you're going to shuffle your cards, and then you're just going to deal off the top. There is blue AI text, and that is the text you resolve until the battle is over. So in the couple times we played this, the first game we were kind of tentative, a little, let's do this.
Exploring, figuring out what's on these tiles.
Let's try to do this. And we went through the first 6 cards, and then we got through, maybe it was the 5th card. We were pretty close to the end.
It was pretty close.
Pretty close to the end. Then the second game, Mike started like right on the faction tile, the Atomics faction tile. So he just was going to start unleashing, because you have to be on that tile to unleash your Ultra attack, which is your biggest attack. And he started on it, and I'm like, oh boy. So I immediately just started getting close to him so that I could at least get the alliance bonus if I could. So he's wailing on me, wailing on me, wailing on me. It came down to 1 health left, and I just got lucky and
very lucky.
Got the attack.
Well,
There
is really no luck in this game other than maybe what tile flips over.
Yeah, I say
it's
lucky.
Not much at all.
I say lucky, but it's more just like my strategy just happened to work that time versus your strategy. And,
fair.
And to be fair, though, I would have done the exact same thing you did were I in your position.
Plus, not to mention, in the second game, we also decided to use these faction surge cards.
Yes.
And this is pretty neat. So each faction has the exact same starting card. So we all have the exact same abilities, exact same cards.
Not each faction, the alphas.
There we go. So we decided to use the surge cards. These, when you play your super, mega, or ultra, give you an overlay. You get to modify your card, and that goes on top of it. And now you've got an extra benefit to use until the cards reset,
Correct.
Which is when the rift happens.
Correct. And the interesting thing about that is it overlays the skill you just used. So you resolve that skill, your ultra skill, let's say. Now you put that card over. That ultra skill's covered. Doesn't matter because you can't even use it again until you get all your cards back anyways. And then you have this passive ability, which, maybe it's when you attack or when you defend. I specifically knew he was going to wail on me, so I picked the attack that I knew the overlay was going to give me better defense. And that is the only reason I survived.
Yeah, you picked a tank. I went with the one for super heavy damage.
Yes.
And then the one that gives you heavy damage. Fitting, you're a glass cannon.
Yes.
I had no armor whatsoever.
Yes.
So I did this big attack. Tim used his extra special defense effectively. And then when he came back after me later in the round, I couldn't do anything to block it. My hit was not hard enough, and he ultimately won. That game went so much faster because we were blowing our megas and supers super early.
Yes.
So I think that was a 4-card game.
Yeah, it was really fast. But I will say, so when we were first learning the rules and stuff, and I was messaging Tony, he was very available, which was awesome because I really wanted to represent this game properly, right? And I wasn't sure about it when we first started playing because I'm like, okay, is this really going to be that interesting? And then as we started playing it though, and we got through the first game, I'm like, okay, this is clicking a little bit for me. Now I understand. And I'm like, I think it's okay. I'm not sure I love it. And then we played with this because I was thinking this game really needs asymmetric.
Ta-da!
So then we use this and it's like, holy crap. It was like a whole new ball game. And then not to mention, this is just a prototype. So this is early. If we were reviewing a finished copy, we would be talking about the extra characters that you can unlock, which come with their own rumble packs, which would be different tiles and cards that will allow you to not only expand your play field, because that's the other thing is I would love to play this with a larger field because you're almost always in range.
Yeah,
true. Here, right? It's small enough. You're almost always in range. So I would love to play it on a large field, and then with even more variable abilities, and that's coming. It's not like, oh, I wish they would do this. No, it's there. Those are basically stretch goals that they're waiting to unlock.
Yeah, that's those extra 3 miniatures that we got sitting over here.
But the game just really started to jam for me. I started having a really good time as we just started to unload because when Mike. When he flipped that tile and it was his spot, I'm like, oh boy, I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble. And it just made for a really interesting, cat and mouse kind of.
Yeah, kind of a push and pull of just trying to figure out when the other guy's going to attack you and make sure you have a card that can either block it or negate special effects.
And also a really fun thing that happened a couple of times is if we play the same initiative numbered card, doesn't even have to be the same ability because obviously there's 2 abilities on each card. If we each played a 2.
It's a glitch.
It's a glitch, and then we have to roll off to see... and then low number goes first. We have
both
to roll
rolled
again.
a 6. We roll again.
5. I keep
4.
rolling. Yeah.
So then I would get to resolve the action instead of Tim. And so I would get the benefit of that. But not only does that mean I get the benefit, you roll for initiative when there's a glitch. You roll for armor checks, and every time you roll, your alliance can change. And that's interesting.
So your color that when we were playing with the black and white alphas, so they are unique. Other than the other alphas, because the game is actually going to come with like a pink, a yellow, a green, a red, and a blue alpha, or you can play with a black or a white. So if you're playing with the red one, for example, you are basically able to gain from those specific nodes, right? Like if you have an alliance with that node. So the red guy is obviously going to try to get over to the nodes where the reds are really good for him, just like the blue guy. It's funny though, because Mike was blue one time, or no, I was blue and I went to hit you, and I rolled.
Changed. Yeah.
I turned blue and I had a -1, so I couldn't do anything.
Yeah. So as those alliances change, it really kind of changes up the game. It changes how much damage you can do on your turn.
Right.
Plus, there's cards that have special effects that allow you to push or pull, and that's interesting. You don't think it would be that much in a tactical game, but when the tile you're on determines how much damage you have, it makes a big difference, especially in a game where you've only got 10 health for the whole game.
Yes.
So that push and pull mechanic was cool.
It's really cool. And we didn't use, they did send us, we didn't use the gear pack, but the gear pack is pretty straightforward. It is, when you go to activate your card, instead of flipping it over to reveal it, you draw a gear, and the gear, again, are two-sided, right? Or, like a top and a bottom, like inversed.
Roll a 4 or higher, you get one side. Roll a 3 or lower, you get the other side.
And again, gives you another set of abilities. You can have up to 2 gear at one time.
Slot it onto your alpha. Now you've got this thing you can use for the rest of the game. So talk about adding some replayability and more variable powers.
Right.
Bam.
Yeah, so there is a lot, a surprising amount of punch in a little box.
Yeah, there really is.
And again, I was kind of nervous about it. I had a lot of questions about some of the rules and getting them cleared up. And I feel, we're in a prototype phase. So obviously, you make suggestions, you talk about things, you see where the designer is on that and everything. But I mean, again, he was available to answer all of my questions very easily, very quickly. And again, I think it even got towards the end of me asking questions. I'm like, this works like this, right? Instead of going, how does this work?
Yeah.
And because once a couple of the core mechanics click for you, I really feel
it's
like,
easy.
Yeah. In the second game, even if we hadn't just stood there and like tried to blast each other into oblivion, I think that game would have gone 5 more minutes tops between us picking our actions and moving. And even if we had gone into the second round of the cards, because I feel like that it actually can play that quickly if you're playing on such a small nano field.
Yeah, it definitely can. And there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different gears that you can add, all double-sided. So that's pretty neat. You're able to equip no more than 2 at a time. If you want to get another one, you can still draft one, but you have to replace one of them. So, yeah, it kind of gives you kind of some tactics as you go as to what kind of abilities you want to add to your alpha.
Right. And again, in the main, like the regular core box, and not just this prototype, you do have the other colored alphas to choose from. And then the stretch goals will be, you've got, I don't know if it's T-Rex or Trex, and then you've got Ninjax and Blasted.
Yep.
And they all have unique abilities on how they move and the attacks they do. I'm just looking at their Kickstarter page right now to just see a little bit about it. And I'm really excited because these extra characters look awesome.
Yeah, they add a lot of different options to the game for sure.
And then yeah, because it's not just like, oh, I'm playing with an alpha. But I mean, even these surge cards, I feel like the game went from like here to here with the surge cards, and I feel like the gear and the surge cards is like blah 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 blah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I had a really good time playing this.
Yeah, this is fun to play, and there's there's an interesting strategy there because you are really trying to figure out, well, what card is the other player going to play? That totally changes what you're going to do in your turn.
So, Mike, you and I, we're the gamblers on the show, right?
That's true.
You know, we like, you know, you play cards, right?
I do.
And sometimes when you play cards, one of the things I love about it is playing the player, not the game, right?
Uh-huh. Yes.
And there is definitely a certain amount of that in this.
It is. I mean, to make a comparison, take a game like Blood Rage, for example, where everybody's drafting cards, and that battle really comes down to, well, which card is he going to play?
Right.
And that's what this game does for you.
Yes.
I mean, it's just 6 cards, but they're double-sided, and when 4 of them are on the table, and you know they've only got 2 left, and you know, well, he's got to play his super or his ultra, but I've got my guard available, and I've got boosted armor. It gives you some interesting ways to plan ahead and be able to kind of deal with what the other player is going to do or what card they're going to play, and that's really interesting.
I like games a lot that have where timing is important.
Yes.
You know, and this is one of those games where timing is make or break you. You know,
it is.
And you can learn it. Like, don't feel like if you don't have good timing, you know, intuitively, like,
it's a simple rule set.
Yeah. You can figure out and learn, like, you know, assess by what they're playing. Okay, probably. But you do get into that Princess Bride. Well, clearly I can't choose the cup in front of me. But yeah, there was a few minutes of that here and there where we're like, but I loved the look of defeat on your face when you realized they still had an attack card left. And you had 1 health, and you just didn't kill me by 1.
Happens.
Which was amazing. But I mean, that's Nano Battle, more or less.
Yeah, this game just hit Kickstarter. By the time our video is out, you'll still have at least 3 weeks to back it.
Yes.
And this is an unpaid promotion. This is just our honest opinions of the game.
We talked to Tony a little bit. You talked to Mike, and then he was like, hey, would you be interested in checking it out? They sent us a prototype, you know, to play. We'll pass it along, you know, to the next lucky, you know, reviewer or content creator. But yeah, this is unpaid. We just like to play games, man.
Yeah.
You know, games that look interesting to us.
And I don't play. You have far more experience with tactical miniatures games.
Yes.
I really haven't played really any.
I'm working on you.
And we'll get there. It's not that I don't like them. I just haven't.
Yeah.
I haven't bought them. I haven't played many. And this one has some really fun concepts. It gives you interesting decisions to make, and it has replayability. And for me, regardless what kind of games you like, as long as you have interesting decisions and replayability, you've got a good game. And I think this game has those things in it.
It's got both of those things in spades, man.
Yeah.
It really does.
The player interaction is fun.
Yes.
So yeah.
And yeah, I come from, like, I like territory control games, you know, with big old minis and just doing stuff. And these are little guys, and I love them because I'm a child of the 80s. And so this is also hits that nostalgic button for me. But yeah, like you just said, lots of interesting decisions, lots of replayability. And, you know, again, these guys, I mean, they just, a little bit of cayenne pepper, man, and the chili just made it nice and spicy.
The surges are cool.
Yeah, it was really a lot of fun. But anything else to add before we close up on Nano Battle?
It's got a very fair price point. I think you get a good amount of game for it. The basic is $30.
$30.
I mean,
and then,
yeah, back this. How many games on Kickstarter are only $30 anymore? Not that many.
Not that many. So yeah. Looks really good. Looks like a lot of fun. There's lots of add-ons. You can get other things too, but for relatively cheap, you can get a game that you could throw in your pocket or your backpack and take around and play anywhere. We were playing games in a bar the other night. This would have been one we could have played.
Absolutely. The portability is excellent.
Yeah.
When you can get fun gameplay in a small package, can't beat it.
So, all right, guys, that's enough of us yakking. So, for the board game rundown, I've been Tim.
I was Mike.
This was Nano Battle. See you next time.